Hello, good evening. Welcome. We're going to give maybe another couple of minutes to see any other goals that come in, any other people. Obviously, you can hop on at the time that you want, and I'm going to be explaining how you can use hypnosis. You're going to experience hypnosis. And then we're doing this every other week so that every person who's interested in applying hypnosis, which is really just a thing that we're already doing. And so it's easier to think about I'm dehypnotizing people as a professional hypnotist. And I've been doing this about 10 years now. And that it's really exciting because there are just so many different uses for hypnosis. And when we kind of take a step back and recognize that it's self hypnosis, it's always self hypnosis, and that you can self apply hypnosis, you really could get away from what is my particular goal, and we can go more into what is the overarching goal. And isn't that always just to feel well, to be well, to feel happy, to feel resourceful, maybe to feel rested, to feel confident. It does start to get really just personalized to whatever is specific for you. But I want to talk about how to do that, and I'm going to walk you through doing that because we learn by doing. So let me know in the chat why you're here, what you want, what you need. Do you already do hypnosis? Do you already practice hypnosis? I train people in hypnosis, and some of these people have been doing hypnosis already for a long time. And for some of them, it was really helpful to hear the way I'm explaining hypnosis because then they really got it. Hypnosis is not a technique. Hypnosis is not a state. It is not a structure of words. It is not a ASMR bedtime story voice. Hypnosis, to me, and when you look at it this way, it really helps the whole puzzle kind of come together. Hypnosis is this overarching category, like a category like sports. Sports being a word synonymous to hypnosis. And then we would understand underneath sports, we have running, we have basketball, we have swimming, we have archery. Right? There's endless subcategories under sports, and there are endless subcategories under hypnosis. And when you put psychoanalysis and coaching, and so that means all the types of therapies, CBT, DBT, EMDR, EFT. There's so many different acronyms, and there's so many different styles or techniques underneath this sport of hypnosis. So why don't we just go ahead and get started, and I'll just jump in whenever I hear anything in the chat part for specifics so that I can really hone this in and make this a valuable use of your time. And of course, we'll do a free experience of hypnosis, even if you don't give me any goals. So don't worry about that. I'm not dependent on you, and you aren't dependent on me explaining this to you. Hypnosis was not something that was created or invented. Hypnosis was observed in multiple cultures throughout time and history. As far back as we have documentation in cultures, multiple cultures, they are writing and describing this process of hypnosis, of fixation, of a meditation, of a emotional association. We hypnotize ourselves naturally. And so if you are experiencing any story, any situation, any block, any pattern, which you don't prefer, then take this tool of hypnosis and use it for your own purposes, okay? Don't let yourself be hypnotized to anything that isn't working for you. You have an amazingly unique mind, okay? I wrote this book. It's on Amazon, The Brilliance of Imagination. You can imagine the solution for any situation. And just as creative as it is to imagine solutions, we can imagine problems. And I'll tell you that this thing like a calculator, it really enjoys calculating problems and potentials and adrenaline. This thing from the chin, the neck down, the other 90% are what we could consider our subconscious. If only most of us are using 10% of our mind, and here's the other 90%. This thing prefers peace and balance. And like I said earlier, resourcefulness. Okay, so that's our first technique. I've simplified the types of techniques so that you don't feel overwhelmed by needing to study all of the different methods for coaching and become licensed as a professional counselor, or study the self-applied counseling practices. You can, if you like those and you can enjoy those, and we can continue to study. Isn't that fun? Yes, but is that only for the head? Maybe. Let's not only study, let's apply. Okay. And so I not only simplified these techniques and organized them, digitally, where you can access them as a product, but instead of thinking of it like a course that you need to go, and learn, it's more just tools that you open and press play. So I have lessons where you learn the entirety of everything about psychology, suggestibility, internal chemistry, mind, motivation, in simple techniques and lessons that you can even learn through the left brain or the right brain. Okay. Our left brain, that's that analytical thinking side. So I have course book, PDFs, graphics, quizzes, assignments. Optionally, they're optional. It's up to you to see how much you want to take this in, or maybe it's just situational. You just want hypnosis for one particular thing. You're going to know how to do that for yourself for particular things and for any things, and how to use hypnosis for others. And then on the right brain, you just press play, you relax, and you absorb. It comes in subliminally, subconsciously. It's me trance talking those lessons to you. And there wasn't anything out there, years ago when I first started studying hypnosis, and maybe I came in a bit ferociously and just really, really wanted to understand what is the process, what is the technique, what is the optimum way to support somebody or to support yourself. And it didn't connect to me in any one product that I was finding. And so I purchased lots of products. I, have this office, which is kind of like my lab, and I have, it's an active office. I have clients, which are really just my ongoing continuing education. And then I've taken everything that I learned and found and observed and subtracted the fluff and the rebranding and just put it all into what I feel are the simplest tools, which really help show you this entire picture of how hypnosis is absolutely best when it is self-applied. Okay. So a lot of great achievers, a lot of, thought leaders and world changers, scientists, mathematicians, athletes, artists. These people are already doing hypnosis. Now, whether or not they call it hypnosis, and they may call it something different, they may not call it anything. They might not even think that they're doing anything because it isn't quite efforted. And it doesn't actually take a set direction. It's not a recipe of time. It's not like you need to, meditate in your story for 20 minutes in order for it to associate. It's more about the clarity, the convincing that you can create from your conscious to your subconscious mind. So many, many people are already doing their own hypnosis. And honestly, every single person with a mind is hypnotizable. Now, whether or not you will follow suggestions given from a professional hypnotist, well, that has to do with you and them, your rapport, right? Your compliance. Do you need more authoritative or more permissive structures? Those stage hypnosis things, those are absolutely real, but they do have compliance buildup. And then of course we're influenced by that element of group think. We do have a group animal psychology that happens kind of outside of our sometimes conscious control. So hypnosis is absolutely something real, and it's something that already is in your range. And so I want you to understand that this technique, I'm going to give you 3 techniques, okay? And then we're going to go into just a full example of it. So if you have something specific that you want to tell me about why you're interested in hypnosis, write that in the chat, and I will direct these strategies straight to you, okay? So the 3 techniques I want to cover are resource allocation, timeline therapy, and the swish technique. So hopefully resource allocation sounds so obvious that you may think, well, how is that even really a technique? It's about you getting your physiology to associate to the imagery. Let's say, for example, the situation is that you want to feel more relaxed. Or I hear that from a lot of people. A lot of people seek out hypnosis support because they've had trauma, or they have anxieties, or they just have, let's say, overactive thinking. They can't sleep, or they have all this sort of fire or chi, or they're not grounded, whatever the context of their beliefs or language are. And honestly, it's irrelevant if someone's coming in with medical documentation about this is the situation of my problem, this is why I have it, look, I'm proving I'm genetically predisposed to have it. All of that is background chatter that's trying to reinforce this problem. They want to not have the problem. But if we come in with this, maybe professional support, or if this is, a self technique, and you're coming into your logic and you're saying, I don't want that problem, I want to subtract that problem, I wish I could remove that problem. Well, if we remove something, right, if that's point 1, removing, that would put us in a deficit. You don't subtract first. We don't even learn subtraction first. We can't even grasp the concept of subtraction until we've understood this concept of addition. And so this is what resource allocation is. You allocate the resource, you add it in. You associate whatever it is in your story that you are wanting to add, and then you feel it, or you picture it, or you go through some sort of story where you receive it into your subconscious. It is real and it assimilates, okay? This is not a power of placebo or a fake it till you make it. This is as simple as follow the instructions. Like if I say, pretend I have an apple in my hand, sometimes people might think, okay, and then what? And, I'll wait to start the exercise until I understand all of the instructions. That was the instruction. Pretend, or imagine, or visualize, or consider if there were an apple. Because as soon as I'm clear with my instructions, your subconscious did it. Now, your conscious mind can create a block. And it can be that one sort of with the clipboard, right? The analyst sort of saying, I'll wait until. The subconscious is always in the moment, in the present. It doesn't understand the idea of next or later. So the subconscious is bigger, and it's the subconscious which is always present. The conscious sometimes, dips out. And we want that subconscious to understand that the resources are here. Not that the problems are here. Let's push the problems aside and just build up those resources. So calmness, relaxation, peacefulness, comfort, safety, trust. All of those words, there may even be dozens of other words, right, that we could brainstorm about. Those words start to begin seeming as just ideas, which are hollow. It's the emotional current underneath them, which is what is individual. So if I say calm, like imagine that a wave of calm is wrapping around you. Does that mean for you that it's a purple, sort of uh, cloud that hugs you? Does it mean that it's a blue, um, kind of like a ocean wave that kind of comes up from underneath you and then rocks you back into a recliner? Maybe it's a mist and it's green or yellow or something, and it flurries in and it comes across your skin and your face and everything. You breathe it in and it's fresh and minty. It could be all three of those things. I mean, obviously, me offering the examples of those things, I'm leading. And I am going to be the best person to lead my hypnosis experiences. I mean, people, seek out my services for supporting them to lead their hypnosis experiences because they think somehow that this is a skill that only I have, or that they're maybe not creative enough to understand how to do this. But you'll see in the self-applied hypnosis techniques, I mean, I give you scripts, but truly, once you understand the equation that all you needed to do was add in this thing that you wanted, you will know what you want. Also, your brain is intelligent, okay, and it will continue to um, help answer and clarify and draw to you more of what you want. Sometimes we need contrast to know what we want, but if you're in a problem, you've had enough contrast, you just want a little bit of solution. Maybe you want a little bit of that tension to release. Well, obviously, that would be the idea of what looseness sounds like. So, again, it's not a mantra of you making mental affirmations that you recite a dozen times. It's about you setting this instruction for your subconscious. Now, instructions do not need to be said out loud. It's more like there are always instructions occurring, and your intuition will become stronger like a muscle every time you practice it. Okay, so adding in resources like ego strengthening or confidence booster or relaxation, those can be fantastic techniques for hypnosis. The Heartland's Ego Strengthener, Hartlands, is something you can Google. I mean, I provide it for you, obviously, and it's just something that you could find even on YouTube, somebody else's voice giving you this script of you getting yourself boosted with confidence, with memory, with security, with peacefulness. And it was, something studied or created and studied in the 70s. And then listening to that on repeat over 21 days, it's mind blowing how many people and how massive their effects were just from that one sort of story concept alone of just adding in those positive things. You could add in so many positive things. You could add in new talents. You could add in the ability to be a master pianist or an amazing public speaker or a present parent. Whatever is important for you, add it in. I'd say yes, Heartland, yes, exactly, Jenny. Yes, Heartland Ego Strengthener. And then let's move now, unless you have questions and you want me to explain more. But I want to talk about this timeline therapy. And there's, I mean, I could spend an hour just talking about the nuances of how we could to our subconscious, connect to this idea of linear time. But I want to just stay more surface level to just help make this tangible for you to know that the subconscious, all things are just now. And so if you're going to sort of step out into different time, then create this idea for the subconscious as though it was steps. I guess we'll call here the present. And if you want to go to the past, well, maybe the past feels like it's this way, or if you did the same exercise and did it another day and the next day it changes, it's okay. It doesn't have to stay always that your past is, for me, this back corner. Just where is the past right now? And then where would the future be, right? Okay, and I'm kind of in the present. Well, I'd like to go into my past because I would like to add resources into my past. I would like to add, when I'm 4 years old and I had this experience in my life, I'd like to add a sense of security, or I'd like to add a protective bubble so that my emotions are protected. I'd like to take my adult self to go and comfort that little child and say, you're going to survive. This isn't your fault. Whatever the scenario is, you don't need to make it complicated. There can be a lot of physiological release by letting us do what therapists call salt the wound. But I'll caution that a lot of therapy kind of steps over that boundary of salting the wound, and it's just keeping it salted, right? And if you participate with therapy and you're just spending time and time and time again talking about the problem, well, when is that time that you are going to be talking about and focused on and then subconsciously connecting to the solution? If it's not soon, just let it be now. That's where the timeline can really come into play, because you could go into the past and add things, or you could just start at the present and jump all the way to the future, maybe even just until the next day. Or it could be helpful, you go all the way to the idea of the end of this life, or if you want to go into other lives, or if you have a context for space in between lives, or you as different lives, go there. Associate yourself to something the body could experience: sight, sound, taste, touch, smell, balance, right? Be there and be well, or be there and be there for some intention. You talk to a guide, you receive a resource. Add in so many resources that any of the problems that need to be subtracted either fade away as a law of like dominant effect. You can only sort of have so many things. It's kind of the idea of if somebody's asking me to help them stop eating chocolate cake, I'm going to say, well, why don't we start, eating more greens, or drinking more water, getting better sleep, doing better self-care. Let's add in the positives, and the negatives will fade away. But if we need the negatives to fade away, you can certainly create this idea of a linear time as though you go maybe back before the negative event happened, or after the negative, an injury or something. And then you just imagine in that, line of time that it is removed. Okay, so timeline therapy, definitely consider that as one of your self practices of hypnosis experiences. Okay, and then the last one that I want to cover like this is the swish, which is very similar to the switch technique. Okay, so we can just consider that those are almost the same thing. Swish is just titled that, and swish technique is something you would find in studying NLP techniques, which is what Tony Robbins is done a great job popularizing. And NLP, like coaching and so many other things, just has branded out from what initially is just hypnosis practices. So swish is when you would have these two things and you would flip them, right? Switch them. But while you're doing it, you're imagining that auditory imagery of shh, shh, shh. Or if maybe your auditory isn't your strongest modality, sound, and visuals are, then maybe the pictures would change in size. And what is it that you're swapping out? The thing you don't want to the thing you do want. And the thing you do want wants to end up closer to you. So say, for an example, that there's a negative habit that you want to change. Nail biting and smoking, these are really common goals that send people, to work with a professional hypnotherapist. And so say that you being I don't know, confident and free and healthy, right? Having great nails, not being someone who smokes, like that's further away from you. Let me get my finger on camera so you can see, right? That's further away from you. And then the situation of you biting your nails and smoking is closer to you. So picture the last time you were biting your nails, the last time you were smoking, or some sort of stimulant that, you're always doing it when you have coffee or you're talking to your mom on the phone. And then see if you can make that gray and shrink, or at least sort of distance from you a little bit, right? It's not happening right in this moment. You would do, this technique maybe after you smoked that last cigarette, or you've bitten your nails off, and that's when you're taking these 2 or 3 minutes and you're just really taking your imagination to be present for this formula, this equation. I hope that this is making sense, and you guys are like, yes, that finally this is so obvious and clear and simple. And of course, it's organized for you at the self-applied hypnosis techniques product. So you would get it gray and move it a little bit away, just enough away so that you could not only conceptualize you as that free, as that, I don't know, these pretty nails, as that, I want to say healthy, I want to say confident, I want to say relaxed. You would know if it's important to you, you would have fantasized probably hundreds of hours about how you would be without this. So fantasize it and don't let your mind, right, this part, get into that story of like, it would be nice. Detail it in this idea of like, it's imagined as so real. It is nice. Remember at the beginning where I was saying, pretend there's an apple? It's like you would had chosen whatever color apple, it could be a purple apple. I've never seen a purple apple, but I could picture one. You could smell it. This apple could smell like, the freshest apple that you love, or coconuts. It's infinite. Your imagination is, to your own definition, very, very creative, and it does not have to be original. Okay, it just has to be something that you could experience. You experience, right, with as much clarity as you could muster, that you who is free, who is confident, who is relaxed, who smells fresh, who looks, I don't know, fly. I don't know why, but that picture, and then this picture, right? So here's the positive picture, here's the negative picture, and then we just switch them around. And it's not exact that it has to happen any particular number of times, but it is accurate that switching them a couple of times. Okay, so test it for yourself. And then after you do this exercise, say like you were doing this for 2 or 3 minutes because you're just really ready to be free, maybe the next day you do it for another 30 seconds. I mean, I'm literally talking about 5 minutes of something that you're doing for yourself for free that will help you with anything, with any habit that you would like to change. So I really hope that those 3 exercises feel like something that you can put in your pocket, because when I got into this industry and this profession originally, it was because I was so curious after reading about case studies and the effectiveness, no negative side effects for hypnosis, just effectiveness for anything that is possible with the mind, which is everything in our life and in our body. And so I thought, wow, I want to know more about this, and I want more people that I can talk about this with. And so now that I've been doing that with a real, sort of, passion and diligence, I can't wait for everybody that I could touch to just have these things tangibly. But again, if it's not a technique and if it's not a state, then people often will say, well, what is it and how do I do it? And then I say, well, you can nearly do it in any different way, because we are coming up with new techniques all the time, but that's where I just needed it for myself simplified to say these are the categories of techniques. And so look, this new launched technique that I just saw on TikTok, well, that's actually just doing this thing, or it's blending this thing and that thing. And so to me, having it mapped out and teaching it to your left or right brain, right, as far as subliminally through trance talk, was just the most I don't know, valuable way that I could share it with people. And obviously, it's something that I charge money for because I need, to operate. How do I give it to you in this digital platform? But we know so many things are not about the exact cost. It is about the psychology of value. Okay, so I have discount codes. I have 2 discount codes, and I'm giving both of them to you. You don't, apply both of them at the same time. You either use one if you want 20% off, use 20OFF. Let me type it out. 20OFF. If you want 40% off, 40% off OFF. And then getting this product, if you are ready to understand how to do the dozens of categories of these styles, or just using the ones that I've given you already, or sticking around, and we're going to go over and do like just a full live experience in a little bit. Getting the link, it's in the chat. You can get the self-applied hypnosis techniques for full price. You can make payments. You can pay 20% off. You can pay 40% off. You can have these tools lifetime access, right? I'm continuing to add audios and just improve the delivery of how to entertain as your brain is taught. And I may even could say just reminded. It's like your brain remembering these things that may have been intuitive or natural for you, or maybe and as a child, youthful, you were already doing some of these things, but then of course they just seemed perhaps too good to be true, or other people were coming and hypnotizing you and basically trying to like program you and just say it can't happen like that, it's hard, it takes time, it takes a long time, blah 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 blah. It's really such an opportunity that we are suggestible in this way. And I also want to back up and say it does not matter about where you are coming from. So I have a student who didn't care about any of this psychology, stuff. He wasn't trying to learn. He wasn't curious, about what possibilities are within the mind. He had a goal. He had a need. He just needed something in his story changed, and he had gone to the conventional avenues, right? And there's a lot of people who I've worked with, and I even had a podcast interviewing clients, and it was eye-opening to hear, story after story of people who were like, I tried everything, nothing was working, and then hypnosis, was kind of the last sort of kooky thing that, why not? What can it hurt? So this student who found hypnosis through that way, it's curious to me because he not only went in, for like the self-applied hypnosis techniques, which is truly the entire kitchen sink of everything about the mind and hypnosis. I mean, you could listen to those lessons again and again and again, and there's just so many subtle nuances that really help you take that equation and progress it as far as making hypnosis even more individualized, for the way you can apply it and the way you could take yourself through hypnosis to the next levels of optimum performance in anything that's important for you. But this student went through the self-applied, and then he went into hypnosis training, which is an optional further training that includes live virtual interaction and experience and practice and all of that. It is a prerequisite that you start with the self-applied hypnosis techniques, because honestly, that's just everything that you need. But he went through both of them, and now he's working professionally, supporting people with change through hypnosis, because it was such um, a value for him, in his life when he needed something and he couldn't find it. And he was so analytical, and I would say that these probably are his words, that he was initially just so skeptical, but like, any person, and myself included, when you really dive in and look at the research, it's out there. Since the 50s, even, we've been talking, from the American Medical Association, the British Medical Association, professional organizations across the planet who are talking about the validity and the credibility and the success of hypnosis techniques. They're just some of the smartest people that I've ever, talked with in rooms at convention experiences talking about hypnosis. Another student that I had already was really immersed in hypnosis, NLP, coaching, metaphysics, meditation. I mean, really even had experienced hypnosis already. And I'm just so grateful that that student was also able to get just life-changing value. Excuse me. Usually have my water bottle right here. And of course today I don't, so I'm going to get it. Just so that I can say everything I want to say, because I want to say it. I want to say all these things. I want to say them. Not quickly. I want to say them completely so that you are an advocate for hypnosis like me. And so the beliefs that you have, the starting place that you're at, the want. I mean, you're here, I would guess, for a purpose. I'll assume, and I'll fill in. I haven't seen anybody in our chat from today to tell me specifically what you want or why you are here or what is valuable for you. Hypnosis is, to me, on this precipice of all of us talking about it. There was even a guy recently at a convention, and he was so passionate about, almost like angry, like, why aren't people calling it hypnosis? Why are they calling it these other things? It's like, call it what you want to call it, okay? We have a mind, and that mind interprets its reality as what I want to call a story. And you probably have heard that, right? We are storytellers. And so hypnosis is kind of this philosophy of, what story are you telling to yourself, or what has been told to you? Are these the old, limited societal stories? Refresh them. Liberate yourself. Live in this moment, in every moment, with joy and peace and happiness. So we'll do now a guided imagery experience. I do want, if you're going to participate with this, that you are mostly free from distractions. If you are driving, do not close your eyes, obviously. And if you're somewhere where you're relaxed and free from distractions and you fall asleep, that is okay. If you need to set an alarm, set one. I will, at the end, of this call, kind of, bring you back and all of that. We'll go maybe, 10, 12, 15 minutes. We'll take the time it takes for this story to come out, for you. And then you also get a recording of all of this, and then you can, return again in 2 weeks. You can go on YouTube. I have some of these things, and I have dozens of these things in the self-applied hypnosis techniques for all different specific goals. So now, get yourself comfortable. You can let your eyes close down. They don't have to be closed, but keeping them open takes a little bit of tension. And I would like for your entire body to relax. So picture a color coming down through the top of your head. And as it's gently massaging through your scalp, it is cleaning your brain and it is clearing out those limitations, old beliefs, negative things, any energy or emotions, people having arguments with you, even you saying negative things about you. Let this light, this beautiful light, maybe have a temperature, maybe a texture. It is your preference. It is pleasurable. Maybe even there's a gentle sound or a smell. And as you are breathing and your heart's beating, right? Take full breaths. Open the chest. Let the heart breathe. This light sweeps through the whole body, and also it's massaging out around you in that kind of electrical current, which is just around the body. You deserve this time now. This is your time. You've earned this time. And time can actually stretch. So stretch your breath. Time slows down. Thoughts in your mind now. You'll have this recorded, okay? You don't need to listen consciously. Just experience these things and all of that theory and those equations from earlier. Just take those things, kind of set them beside you. You don't need your mind, lit up with excitement. You want your mind dimming down. And you're following that light as it moves out of your mind and through the rest of your body now. Perhaps the light is at your heart or your spine and you're breathing. It's going down into your diaphragm and your organs. And that light is just massaging and it's cleansing and it is helping, and everything in your body is functioning more efficiently than ever. Our body can experience what is like several hours of actual restorative REM rest just through the hypnotic feeling. Let go of expectations. Let go of the next moment and return to this now space with your subconscious and taking all of that slow breath and then kind of flow and relax and let yourself rest into that, what I want to describe as a sinking sensation. Some people might notice it's like a floating sensation. Whatever you are noticing can be completely fine, okay? This is your self-directed through my suggestions. We always call it self-hypnosis in the industry. You do not need to think or compare. Just experience and go deeper. Go deeper inward. Maybe deeper downward. Imagine you are sort of floating or going, maybe even walking, like you could be outside in nature on a path and you're walking, and that you're walking towards all that you want to have and be and do. And it's like a brighter golden light, which is calling you, maybe even magnetically, right? Kind of pulling you. And you are now almost there. And then be aware the next couple of steps or moments or breaths are going to be those that let you reset and get over any blocks. You're walking away from confusion or density. You're walking away from anything in your space, in your story, in your life. This could be other people's, emotions or beliefs. You're freeing yourself. And another great visual, and this could be kind of auditory and kinesthetic as well, is that you were cutting cords, right? Maybe you have a giant sword, like a cool diamond crusted samurai sword, and you just slice, you're very safe. You're just moving in all the right sort of gestures. You don't have to physically be moving or performing. For me, this is all in your imagination. You've cleaned out all those cords, and now you're moving towards that bright golden light, and you step into it, and immediately you feel all these things in your body release and open. It's as though you can breathe bigger and longer and slower. And now your heart is glowing, and you are starting to feel so much love and appreciation, as though your mind is glowing and you are just knowing your perspective is changing, just things out around you and in you, emotionally, mentally, physically, show up cleaned and more organized. For everything that you find you want or need, you are only available for these things which encourage or support your highest flow. You're not going to go into those complicated, cumbersome hiccups unless it's fun for you. Things to your subconscious, just like through your body, can be effortless and easy for you. They are actually done for you. You trust them. Just breathe trust into your body and take a few of these, last minutes to, as you breathe in and out, to imagine that trust now. Remember the very beginning when we talked about something kind of coming out around you. This is comfortable for you, and you actually can take your hands and move your hands like this, and you can support yourself around you by hugging you. And that trust is something that you have like a resource. And this isn't only trust for yourself. It's more than yourself. It's bigger than yourself. And you can relax your arms and keep your eyes closed and relax the body still. Trust is something that you are on the inside of. You are inside of a bubble. And all of that energy is like a sea of energy, and you're just floating in the sea of loving energy and trustfulness. You have released this ego attachment to outcomes, and your heart is open, and you're just ready for fun and for quick, and for effortless, just slipping in this flow of receiving those experiences, right? Those rewards, intrinsic, the inner, rewards of accomplishment and confidence and self-love, the external totems, the real manifested occurrences, the people, better relationships, financial, just trusting and floating in this abundant, spacious circle where you are the center. You are your center, the center of your universe, your reality. Now breathe directly into the heart. And as though when you exhale, you can just feel this sparkling burst of energy just sort of ripple out from you in every direction out around you. This is just pure, unconditioned love and joy, right? And gratitude and bliss, and just this really high frequency state is like a beam of the brightest light, which is going to eradicate anything dim or dark or stagnant in your reality. It is real. It does not have to be a conscious feeling. These instructions to your subconscious are clear, and it makes it real right now. And over the next couple of hours, over the next couple of days, even weeks and months, your subconscious is walking these things out in this way, which is so surprisingly subtle and yet also obvious. It just feels natural. And I just hear this time and time and time again from people who have gone through the self-applied techniques or have, done some of these sessions with me personally, and they just feel like, wow, this is how I am now. I'm just I'm just happy and just healthy. It's seriously so many things. It's just the things that we all are designed to have and experience. And this means any person, regardless of your anatomy or story, chronic anything, chronic pain, chronic, issues, we are naturally adaptable. And if the story hasn't adapted, there is something which needs to be, I want to say, extracted now. But we just know that we need to add in first before we subtract. So I really hope that you feel that I've added some tools into your toolbox that made a lot of sense and that gave you a lot of value. I would love if you go and get the tools so that you can just have all of it organized and every seek a little intricacy. You can return again, and if you've been to some of these before, you know that every single time it's going to be a different experience of how it is that I can make this for you in an hour to give you these really, really powerful things, with any sort of opportunity to interact and let me know what you want or why you are here. But I appreciate you for being here, and I'm going to sign off. So getting yourself right, if you still got your eyes closed, getting yourself open and awake, and aroused and stretch and smile and feeling fantastic now. Okay, so the link is in there. These are self-applied hypnosis techniques. My name is Lauren, and this is Modern Day Hypnosis. All right. Thank you all so much, and have a great night, and we will be back soon. Bye.